All right, you guys, great to be back. Thank you for the watches and joining us. And I've been down a little bit with some, got the little bit of the cooties, I guess. A little bit of a cold or whatever. You could hear the congestion. I couldn't put out videos for a few days because I barely could talk. So got a little bit better today from yesterday, which yesterday was a little bit better. But I have a great video. You just seen the video I just did the other day, yesterday. Awesome stuff, sharing symbolism. I always talk about symbolism here, how important it is, right? And how about we went to ancient symbolism and we went into the ancient swastika, and I hope you guys like it and watch it. It's awesome stuff. But anyways, I got something today. I got a video, so I want to get into it. I'm going to share again today with y'all. This is about somebody that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of. Sabatai Zevi. Sabatai Zevi was a Jew in the 1600s that said he was the Messiah, started his own movement, got like 1 million followers, right? And then this kicked into some doctrines and some things that I think led to, my personal thing is because the people that followed him, that were disciples of him later in the 1800s, one of them, Jacob Frank, which is another interesting guy. I'm going to share this now. All right. Jacob Frank said that he was one of his things. He's one of the ones that was the original person in when the Illuminati started, right? He was one of the people that was in the Illuminati when it started. His name is Jacob Franks. He was the ones that started it, along with one of the Rothschilds. Can't remember his first name, and the other man from France, and I can't remember him off the top of my head too, but I know who he is, that were there to start the Illuminati, and Jacob Frank, who was a disciple of this man we're going to talk about. So get ready. Sabatai Zevi.
Messianic figures in world history. In the year 1666, an exceptionally charismatic rabbi and Kabbalist by the name of Sabatai Zevi declared himself to be the Messiah.
I will stop this and interject some, but I will not overdo it. Whenever I feel it, I will do it, okay?
Born to an affluent family in Western Anatolia, he was a particularly eccentric Jewish mystic who had attained a massive following, over 1 million devotees during his lifetime, roughly half of the world's Jewish population in the 17th century. His extraordinary popularity, according to historians such as Professor Gershom Scholem, resulted largely from the publication and availability of what is today called the Lurian Kabbalah, named after Rabbi Isaac Luria. His full name is Isaac ben Solomon Luria Ashkenazi, commonly known in Jewish religious circles as Ari. Before we go any further, I'd like to go over his name, starting with Isaac, who in the Old Testament of the Bible is the firstborn son of Abraham and one of the 3 biblical patriarchs revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Isaac was the father of Jacob and the grandfather of the 12 tribes of Israel. According to the narrative, he died when he was 180 years old in Canaan, where he was also born. Incidentally, Canaan is the biblical term. The Greek term is Phoenicia, which comes from the Greek word phoinos, meaning blood red. In Hebrew, Ben, as in Ben Solomon, means son, and Solomon was a king in Israel who succeeded his father, David. Incidentally, the symbol on the flag of modern Israel is sometimes called the Star of David, but also the Seal of Solomon. And I'll leave a link in the description to a video I did covering its occult significance for those that are interested.
The current bull market is on a 4-year run since the pandemic, but an average bull market...
The next part of his name is Luria, which is usually attributed to one of 2 towns in Italy.
Did you guys catch the name was of Lorian was also Ashkenazi, which would go right with the Ashkenazi Jews? I bet this is definitely has a part of where it may even originated at.
Which can be traced back to an ancient Roman family surname, but in the English origin is a contemporary girl's name which means brave lioness, which I'll expand on in a moment. The final part of his name is Ashkenazi, which comes from Ashkenaz, who in the Bible was a descendant of Noah. Ashkenaz was the first son of Gomer, with Gomer being the grandson of Noah through Japheth. Noah allegedly had 3 sons: Sem, whose descendants are known as Semites, who were Western Asian Caucasian people who lived throughout the ancient Near East, including the Levant, meaning Assyria and Babylon, the Arabian Peninsula, and parts of North Africa. Ham was another son of Noah, and from this branch we have the Caucasian North African people, including the ancient Egyptians with their blonde and red-headed pharaohs, and the Berbers, or Amazigh, who were the original Moors that ruled parts of Europe for 700 years and are depicted like this in the art of the time. Which brings us to Noah's son Japheth, great-grandfather of Ashkenaz, and ancestor of the Slavs, Cimmerians, Medes, Ionians, Scythians, Cypriots, and many others collectively regarded as Aryans, who disseminated what are today known as the Indo-European or Aryan languages, including High German, which is where Yiddish comes from, the language of the Ashkenazi Jews. That said, let's get back to Luria, which I already associated with the lioness, but Isaac Luria's title was actually Ari, which is the Hebrew word for lion. In Greek, Ari is a common shortened version of Greek names like Aristotle or aristocrat, the majority of which are compounds of the adjectival superlative aristos, meaning best or superior. Ari and Bagdaga, a southern Dravidian language, means sun-like. In Scandinavia, meaning Old Norse, Icelandic, Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish, Ari means eagle, which it can also mean in German and Hebrew, but its primary meaning is lion, in the context of the sun at its brightest point. Esoteric interpretations of all Abrahamic religions, as well as all religions associated with Aryans, such as Hinduism and the Mithraic mysteries, which means the Iranian religion of Zoroastrianism, and any others, use solar symbology or sun worship as a hidden occult representation for deeper esoteric philosophies, which are veiled in symbolism and withheld from the general public. In mystery school religions, or what became known as alchemy, as well as in the zodiac, the lion is the sun at its highest or most exalted point. While the term Aryan is often associated with Aries the ram, keep in mind that to the ancient Aryans, the real New Year is in the spring, the time of Aries, and the prefix AR is a solar reference, such as in the word Armenia, where AR or R is the name of the sun or sun god. The ancient Armenians called themselves children of the sun. When we look at the flag of Iran, we see the sun with a lion.
Wow.
Now, I know a lot of people will have trouble with this because Iran, which is traditionally considered land of the Aryans, is at odds with the modern state of Israel, or the German nationalists of World War II also claimed lineage from ancient Aryans and were also in opposition to the people today collectively known as Jews. Putting political ideology aside for a moment,
look at that.
The term Aryan, in the context of how it appears in the Hindu Vedas or etched in 2,500-year-old cuneiform in stone reliefs in Iran, Aryans were regarded as the nobility, a class of people of the elite caste from whom Gautama Buddha is also descended, as he was born of noble blood before he denounced his status to pursue the Noble Eightfold Path, which was originally called the Aryan Eightfold Path, before they replaced the word Aryan with noble, as they're interchangeable. But the term Aryan has been shunned by academia and the media after World War II. The point I'm trying to make is that the rift between the ancient tribes known as Aryans and the alleged lost tribes of Israelites, they're one and the same, which becomes evident when one analyzes the mythology, biblical and secular history, genetics, and occult symbols disseminated since antiquity.
Wow.
I've already explained why the royal families of Europe all share genetic affinity.
If you notice, you've seen the Star of David probably on a Jewish temple or building, and then you see the swastika there. It wasn't what we've been programmed to believe the swastika was. I went over that on my last video on the, it was amazing, these pictures that come up and you can kind of see it, right?
Including blood type, and why so many use the Lion of Judah with its tongue sticking out as a national symbol of nobility, mimicking the coat of arms of Jerusalem, where Isaac Luria was born. I'll leave a link in the description to my video on lion symbolism. In rabbinic literature, the kingdom of Ashkenaz was first associated with the Scythian region, then later with the Slavic territories, and from the 11th century onwards with Germany and Northern Europe. This new Lurianic Kabbalah enjoyed broad dissemination in the 1500s, thanks to the invention of the printing press in the previous century. Jews from around the world for the first time had access to occult literature about the deeper meaning of their faith, and the popularity of Jewish mysticism soared. A key aspect of Lurianic Kabbalah is that it required active participation to set the stage for the arrival of the Messiah, to bring about conditions that would initiate or directly expedite the fulfillment of Jewish messianic prophecy. In other words, instead of simply waiting for God to act, the Lurianic perspective expected Jews to play an active role in bringing forth God's kingdom on earth.
Y'all.
This new European Kabbalah,
Ooh.
as opposed to the older Chaldean version, is unanimously attributed to Luria and was extremely popular at the time, and still is the most broadly disseminated and used Kabbalistic system taught today. Part of this Kabbalistic method included ways of interpreting the supernatural relationship between events and time, offered through letters and numbers. The magical emphasis given to the numerological value of dates contributed greatly to the widely held expectations and hope placed on the coming of a Messiah at the time, particularly the 18th day, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6, of the 6th month of the year 1666.
My new book, Keyboard Rich, How Anyone Can Earn Six Figures from Home with a Simple Bookkeeping Business, has just...
Most people have heard of Jesus Christ, considered the Messiah by Christians, and who lived 2,000 years ago. But very few have ever heard of sabatai Zevi, who declared himself the Messiah in 1666.
Listen to this story.
By proclaiming redemption was available through acts of sin, he amassed a following of over 1 million passionate believers. As I said, about half the world's Jewish population during the 17th century. And although many rabbis at the time considered him a heretic, his fame extended far and wide. Sabbatai's adherents planned to abolish many ritualistic observances because, according to the Talmud, holy obligations would no longer apply.
That's a Rothschild
in
mansion
Messianic
party
time.
right there, guys.
Fasting days became days of feasting and rejoicing.
70-something.
Sabbateans, as they called themselves, encouraged and practiced sexual promiscuity, adultery, incest, and religious orgies. Sabbatai Zevi's messianic claims were rejected by the leading rabbis of Jerusalem, as well as the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, who offered to behead him if he didn't convert to Islam, which he immediately did. Sabatai's formal conversion to Islam really dismayed many of his followers, to say the least. But those who continued to be loyal to the Sabbatean movement took it as a sign to also convert to Islam, while secretly maintaining their Jewish identity and mystical occult practices, which included religious orgies and sex magic and sacrifice. His followers are known today in Turkey as the dolme, which translates to religious convert, a derogatory term which they themselves never used. And so the Lurian Kabbalah became a mystical synthesis between pagan or esoteric teachings which preceded the Torah and Gnostic elements of Judaism. Many texts pertaining to the Kabbalah, including the Zohar, say that the task is not to destroy evil, but to return it to its source. To put it simply, to include the left within the right in a Zoroastric metaphor, or to uplift the fallen sparks in the Lurianic one. The rapid spread of the teachings of Rabbi Isaac.
Sorry about the coughing. It's kind of flared up. But anyways, it's amazing. And I have mentioned this, I think, before, that all this was connected to all these secret societies. He was threatened to be beheaded if he didn't become a Muslim. He did, but behind the scenes in occultic ways, they were still doing their practices of Kabbalah. Amazing, right? You look at it, that I'm telling you, we don't really get it, what's really going on. Definitely need to make changes. Flip the script, may I say, cause a glitch.
Gloria, the Ari, or Aryan lion, and his Lurianic Kabbalah resulted in a grafting of the then current theories of the Kabbalists onto the traditional Jewish view of the role and personality of the Messiah. This new philosophic paradigm, in the estimation of many scholars, provided a spiritual justification for proactive Zionism, and therefore the events that directly brought about the modern formation of.
That's what I was saying earlier. This is what I seen kind of led into the 1800s, into Zionism, with Jacob Frank, who's one of his disciples, coming from him. He'll probably mention it. We only got little over 3 minutes left in the video. But yeah, the Zionism, definitely something different than what we've seen and known, right?
Of Israel, which incidentally did not start in 1948 with the War of Independence, but a century earlier with the German Messianic settlers known as the Temple Society, or Templars, who supported the nationalist German party of the 30s, many of whom also populated Palestine during the transfer agreement, where tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of German Jews were covertly resettled into the Holy Land by the German nationalists the decade prior to World War II. After Sabatai Zevi's death in 1676, his Kabbalist successor, Jacob Frank, expanded upon and continued his occult philosophy.
That's what I was talking about.
Frankism, a religious movement of the 18th and 19th centuries, centered on his leadership and his claim to be the reincarnation of the Messiah, Sabatai Zevi. He, like Zevi, would perform strange acts that violated traditional religious taboos, such as eating fats forbidden by Jewish dietary laws, ritual sacrifice, and promoting orgies and sexual immorality. He often slept with his followers, as well as his own daughter, while preaching a doctrine that the best way to imitate God was to cross every boundary, transgress every taboo, and mix the sacred with the profane.
Eyes wide shut.
Jacob Frank would eventually enter into an alliance formed by Adam Weishaupt and Mayer Amschel Rothschild, called the Order of the Illuminati. The
That was May
objectives
1st,
of this organization was to
1776.
undermine the
May
world's
1st,
religions
33 days
and
before
power
the United
structures
States
in an
was
effort to
started,
usher in
or
a utopian era
what
of
we
global
call
communism,
Independence Day, and I'll be quiet.
which they would covertly rule by their hidden hand, the New World Order. Using secret societies, many through infiltration and corruption, their agenda has played itself out over the centuries, staying true to the script. The Illuminati handle opposition by a near total control of the world's media, academic opinion leaders, politicians, and central banks. Still considered nothing more than a theory to many, more and more people wake up each day to the possibility that this is not just a theory, but a terrifying, factual, and explosive conspiracy.
Very interesting. Very good video. Thanks to Robert Seffer, who really broke that. He actually wrote a book called Redemption Through Sin, telling the story of sabatai, zevi, and that process, how that led, because then that goes on to even forward. I think I might have shared a little bit that went into the three world wars that Albert Pike talked about, were the First World War was against the czars, right? By the what were they? The Bolsheviks, who were pushing communism, which was started and I even seen a video I may share one day where Adolf Hitler, this Jew, is up there talking, reading this book by Hitler, and Hitler said about this, and then made some confessions in this book about Jews, and in the person who was reading it said, "This is true, is what he's saying. I don't see that he dislikes us per se. He understood why Russian Revolution came through this process that Albert Pike said, which was controlled by the Zionist, and he, at the point in his mind, said the Zionists aren't taking over Germany." I could see that's where he probably came from. Not saying pick a side or right or wrong. That's for you to decide and to go in. But deep dive more into it. You'll find out a lot more than you thought. But this is very interesting. The book is very interesting. And we're just trying to wake up to see that nothing is like we thought it was. Nothing seems to be what it is. You really have to. The book of Revelation is revealing. The book Revelation, which apocalypse means that revealing that which is hidden, taking the veil off. Reveal is like taking the veil off, revealing it, pushing the veil back open so you could see. And that's why I believe that a lot of things that we're seeing now happen, where we're realizing about the wood, the music industry, people we trusted, governments, and all that is being revealed to us. It's trying to wake us up. It's time to press, folks. But just really good information here. I really appreciate this. Hope you like this video. I hope you don't mind me sharing videos and sharing and reading stuff about history, what's going on, some of the evidence. I really think it makes the channel better. Please share, like. Please share and like. Share to those that you know would be open to hearing more and opening more, right? Another one I wanted to do, I'm going to do in the future, is some other stuff with realities that's with Nikola Tesla, not Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk. His babysitter tells her story of how she was his nanny and took care of him as the mom and that were very busy in what they were doing, and the experience with a young Elon. It will be very interesting, and for some of you might not be surprising at all. A lot of them that seem to be can be just awakening. Wake up, be aware, have your on, make changes in your life. Sometimes you don't have to do the full 360 at once or the 180, but sometimes starting off with 45-degree angle change, a 20-degree angle change, a 90-degree angle change is the beginning of you changing for the 180. Starting off with that, whether it's diet, exercise, being consistent on stuff. You know your weaknesses. This is being revealed. There's a lot of stuff happening now. You know yourself better than anybody. That's why we always say, use your toolbox here. Use that bad boy. There ain't nothing like your toolbox here. You create a toolbox connected to awareness and all the things that you can make adjustment, because you're so aware when certain things come that could take you out of your flow, take you out of your creativity, take you out of your power and lower your vibration, that you're immediately aware, see it, I recognize it, and you go, oh, I need a Phillips. I need a wrench. And you make those adjustments on the fly. I used to coach football back in the day, and basketball and baseball. But I coached football and was a head coach for many years in basketball. And one of the things I prided myself that I thought I did well and really learned to do well was, and learned, and it stuck with me, was learning how to make adjustments in game situations. Because sometimes when you don't adjust and you wait till halftime, it may be too late for you to adjust then. You need to adjust immediately. Now, even more us, walking in our frequency, we've had the aura field discussion here, but you guys have a great day. All right, and hope you appreciate you all. Have a great day. Wholeness, balance, vibrations. Please share, please listen, please like. That's what gets my algorithms up. It's by liking and sharing and commenting. You guys have a great day. Appreciate y'all.